Okay, are we on, as they say?
Yes.
Uh, Christian, my grandson, said, why don't you tell the story about when you were in high school and the high school band? And of course, you played at all the football games, and you went down to New Rochelle to play them. One of the stars on New Rochelle was a young man named Jesse Arnell, magnificent athlete. Played basketball, football, everything. He was great. And because I had told him the story, and he always thought it was funny, so I'll repeat it. It won't take long, although the way I talk nowadays could take an hour. We went down to the game. We were not a good football team. I'm sorry to my classmates, but not against New Rochelle. They were great. And at the end of the game, we lost 72 to nothing. Now the band is there to cheer the crowds and the players and show them the support, but we were really down. And a little angry at some of the calls, but 72 to nothing can't be the call. So after the game, we have to gather and get on the school bus to head back to Fort Chester. And we get in the parking lot, and there's a whole bunch of New Rochelle fans giving us the you-know-what for being such a bad team. And they were saying things like, even the band stinks and stuff like that. Well, the band did stink. We're a good band. But anyway, some of the Portchester people went to the bus area talking to their friends in the band, and that started back and forth between the two sections, and it started getting dangerous. Now I'm standing there with the field drum and a strap around my shoulder, because when you march, you have to put the drum at an angle and then play the drum. So I'm still like that from playing on the field. And some tough New Rochelle people came up to me and a few other band members and started pushing a little bit. Well, we didn't like that, so we said we didn't like that. And before you know it, a scuffle breaks out. Now, I'm not a rough and tough guy. I'm not a big guy. I'll defend myself, and I'll defend someone I love, but football game? Yeah. So I tried to stay out of it, but these two or three guys kept going at me. So I said something. So they grabbed my drum, rested it over my head with the strap, and pushed the drum over my head down, and so my head was in the drum. I couldn't see anything. The only reason it didn't go all the way down because it was a snare drum, and the snares, like little chains, stopped my head from going through. Now I'm saying, I'm talking in a drum. Now some guys start hitting the drum with their fists. What a fun time I was having. Finally, it wasn't a fight, but they scuffled and it was broken up. And everybody started laughing their you-know-what's off, looking at, where's Jerry? He's in the drum. And they didn't know what he was talking about, and they look at little Jerry there. And I'm still saying, my head. You know. So they took it off. We got on the bus, and everybody laughed like crazy all the way from New Rochelle back to Port Chester. Then I got home and told my mother about it. And you know what? She was very worried about the drum. That's it. Hi, this is Jerry Sanders, and I guess my old line, who cares what I don't like, is probably going to be the title of our show, because I'm probably going to rant a lot. talking to my grandson Chris, and he says, "Well, what do you want to talk about?" Well, if you rant, you really, no matter what you mention, you can rant about it and say what you don't like about things. I like more things than I don't like, but nowadays, let's go back. I spent my whole life in radio and television, and programming was my specialty. And nowadays, there's no imagination in programming. Uh, there's no drama on television anymore. There's no Playhouse 90. You don't see it. It's all comedy, and comedy for dummies. And there's no intellectual comedies anymore. There might be one or two that I'm forgetting, but no comedies that you think about, and after you think about it, you say to yourself, that was pretty clever. That's good. I like that. I like that writing. You don't say that anymore. Nothing to say that about anymore. It's dumb. No one laughs, but the shows are filled with laughter because of the laugh tracks. Someone says hi, and 500 people laugh and clap their hands. It's phony, not funny. And as an old timer, that bothers me because I'm used to good writing. When I went to a play on Broadway, you really laughed because you were hearing things for the first time. Original comedy, original music. It's okay when you go to a revival. That's when you hear songs you've loved over the years. You're paying but there are no new shows on Broadway. They bring them back, revivals. Where are the people from Juilliard who go to study music and then when they come out want to write? Where are the lyricists? Where are the poets who write for the theater? They're gone. They're all on television. And it's all situation comedy. People are embarrassed, so we laugh. People fall down, so we laugh. I don't laugh. I say to my wife, what are we looking at this for? It's stupid. Not that I'm a snob. I was spoiled by theater in the 50s and the 60s. Yeah, it's true. I was part of it on local and regional areas. Never made it. I never tried for big time theater, but it's terrible now. And I feel sorry for you if you're young out there. You don't know what a Broadway show is. Too bad you missed it. You could make a difference by demanding that. But people don't write that anymore because no one's paying them to write it. Oh well. There are some other things. I'm looking down because I wrote some notes. And some notes about parents and with iPad cameras. You know, I don't even know what an iPad camera is. I think I do now because I think I saw it at a concert at a high school a week or so ago. A father turning this thing on, a row in front of us. We were blinded by it. We're sitting in the dark, and the students are lit up on the stage, and I guess one of the girls was his daughter. That's wonderful. God bless her. She's tasting a little bit of showbiz. But the father, where did he come from? What is he thinking? Turns on a 5-foot theater in front of him with all the lights on. Come on. I was told later that was an iPad camera. Well, first of all, they must be very expensive, but don't turn them on in a dark theater. Oh, good Lord. That's all I'm going to say for now. I'm going to go have a Pepsi. Talk to you later. Okay, I thought of a couple of short stories I might want to share with you. One might be of interest, and one might be kind of whimsical and make you smile a little bit. It was an interview I did many, many years ago with Ray Charles. He was appearing up in Syracuse at a nightclub, and I was a fan of his. Ray Charles was not a big superstar when he first started, but he had a huge personal following, especially up around the Detroit area, and which is Motown. The Barry Gordy, who put Motown together, was very prominent and popular in Syracuse, and that was my market. Well, anyway, Ray Charles was coming to town, and of course I had to go interview him, and I looked forward to that. And it was in the evening time. I finally got there around 6 o'clock in the evening. He was maybe in November, and it was pretty dark, almost pretty dark. And it was at a nightclub on a lake. It's closed now. It used to be called Three Rivers. And whenever a new performer got there, I'd be invited to come see the show and talk to the star and then put the interview on the air. So I got there and I walked into the front desk and I said, "Is Mr. Charles here?" And they said, "Yes, he's up in his room." And just go right up. I said, "Okay, good." So I went upstairs. I really didn't know which room it was, but I knocked on doors. Nobody answered. Finally, I knocked on the door and I said, and I heard, "Come in." Well, I didn't know what I was getting into, so I opened the door a little bit and I said, "Mr. Charles?" He said, "Yes, who is this?" And I said, "It's Jerry Sanders." "Oh, Jerry, come on in." So, okay, good. So I walked in. He was sitting on the edge of a bed, like putting on his shoes, just about completed being dressed to go on and do a show. And I said, "Do we have time?" He said, "Yeah, how long is it going to take?" I said, "Just a few minutes." "Yes, well, then we have time." So I went over to him, and I didn't know how to start the interview. I had written a lot of questions on, and I said, "How are you?" Blah, blah, blah. He answered the question, and I was hesitant. He said, what's the problem?" And I said, "Well," I was referring to my notes. I said, "Well, Mr. Charles, the truth is," and I didn't want to hurt his feelings because it was dark in the room. And I said, "Well, to tell you the truth, I can't see." And he said, "Oh, Jerry, why didn't you tell me that? I'm so sorry to hear that. Oh, I'm embarrassed." I said, No, I don't mean that." "What do you mean?" I said, "I can't see. There's no lights on in here. It's dark." Well, he started laughing, and that was the end of the interview. Never went any further. He thought that was very funny and probably told the story when he went down the stairs and performed. But for the record, Ray Charles is a super guy, wonderful performer, and a very, very nice man. He's had his history. We all know that. Everyone has their own story, but to me, Ray Charles is great. The only other story was similar to that. I was working in, I forget the town, Oneonta, at a radio station there, and spent a lot of time in Cooperstown. And I did the Hall of Fame games there and so forth. I would go to Cooperstown a couple of times a week because I'm a baseball fan and announcer and player and so forth. And I could spend days in Cooperstown. You know what I did? I did spend days there. But anyway, there was a new furniture store being opened in Cooperstown. And my boss said, "We got to interview the owners of the store because they're going to be sponsoring shows here. It means a lot of money to the station. So I want you to go up there and talk to the owners. The grand opening celebration." I said, "Okay. Well, what do I know about furniture? Nothing. Except I'll do my professional best to ask them to describe the store and furniture and period and so forth." So I go there, and they were brothers who owned the store. And my engineer was going to line up who I was going to talk to first, and then so he comes over to me and he says, "This is Mr. Levine." Yeah, I said, "Okay, got it." So the guy said, "Mr. Levine, how are you?" And he said, "I'm fine, but it's Levine, not Levine." So I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry I made a mistake like that." I said, "I'll remember that, Mr. Levine." Okay, that's good. So we did the interview. Very nice, maybe 2 minutes. He answered the questions. He seemed happy and he left. He said, "Well, I want you to talk to my brother next because he talks about period style." I said, "That'll be great." So I wait. The brother comes over. We put a microphone on him. He sits next to me, nice big smile on his face. And I said, "Well, it's a pleasure to have you here, Mr. Levine. And I want," he goes, "It's Levine." So that's, if you're going to be a radio announcer doing interviews, write down the person's name. That's it for now. Thank you. Bye. Okay, here we go again. My grandson and I were thinking about subjects, what to talk about. Two completely different ideas came to mind. One was about a show I did at Georgetown University when I was a freshman. It was the senior musical at Georgetown. Tom Riley, who was one of the leading outstanding seniors at Georgetown, also president of the band, was putting together the show and asked me, a freshman who he knew from the band and from chorus at Georgetown, if I would be in the show. I said, "That would be great, would be an honor. What's it about?" And he said, "Well, it's really based about you." He wrote the show. And I said, "How could it be based about me?" He said, "Well, it's not that. It's about you because I thought about you when I was coming up with an idea for the show. And it's about a guy who's in college and he's a freshman. And on weekends, he's a jockey and he tries to win races so he can earn money so he can stay in college. And he has a pet horse, and his horse is what he races on weekends. And the crux of the matter is the horse, he has no place, can't afford to keep him in a stable, so he stays in the room with him and his roommate. And that's why the show is called Two on the Nose. It's how you place a bet sometimes if you're going to bet on the horse you think is going to win. And when you say it's on the nose, it means that you are betting for them to win. So, my name in the show is Boots Sanders. And when I left college and went into radio and TV and so forth, trying to earn a living, I chose the name Sanders. Really inspired by playing it at Georgetown University. It was my character name, and then I kept it for the next 50 or 60 years. And it's almost opening night, and there's the number I do, the title song is "It's Two on the Nose." Life's down to they stand down all the way, down and down, and no one knows. It's two on the nose. And then he said, "Prepare yourself for maybe singing two choruses of it." I said, "Okay." So it's opening night, the show is going on, and a good crowd is out there. This is at the church right on the campus, right off the campus at Georgetown, and all the Kennedys are there. This was before he was President Kennedy, he was Senator Kennedy. John F. and his brother Bobby, and they're not kidding, they do, the whole clan does walk through Georgetown, and they go for walks often. sometimes 2 or 3 days when the weather's nice. They just walk through the streets and they toss a football, and you're there, you're outside talking, and here come about 10 or 12, a group of 10 or 12 people, and they're all the Kennedys. And in those days, it was John F. Kennedy, his brother Bobby, younger brother Teddy, and Jackie, and all the group of girlfriends and lady friends and so forth. And you just took them for granted. So when the Georgetown show opens, seeing they live around the corner, they all come to see the show and they enjoy it very much. Now, no one told me that the Kennedys were out there when it came out, because very honestly, if they said the Kennedys, I would have said who. Just didn't know then who the Kennedys were or were going to be. But they were out there, and I never paid attention where they were sitting. But anyway, the show is on, and comes time to do my number 2 on the nose. And we had never really rehearsed it for choreography. We just rehearsed for singing the song. And stage presence, and I walk around, it's me, the character, talking to the board at the college and the university to please don't get rid of my horse, because on weekends the horse and I go to the racetrack and we race and try to earn money so I can stay in college and so forth. The whole song is about it, and really it's telling the audience the whole plot of the show. So I do it. It's 2 on the nose. It's all over, and I end up, well, I should back up a little bit. In the second chorus of the song, after I finish the lyrics, the orchestra continues, and I start doing an ad-lib dance on the stage. And I'm being kind of silly and crazy. I'm doing the old Jackie Gleason thing, everything I learned from watching great performers perform. I'm throwing everything in. And anybody who was out in the audience would say, oh my God, we've seen everybody else do this. Now this young kid is doing the same thing and trying to be funny. So I did it, but it worked. Great material, even if it's not your own. And when I ended up on my knee with my arms out like Al Jolson, the crowd really applauded and went crazy and loved it, to let me know they really liked it. But they kept clapping, and I was almost falling down trying to stay balanced on my one knee after dancing all over the stage and jumping on the tables where the dean is sitting and all that, and sitting on his lap and tousling his hair and doing all that kind of stuff just for a laugh. The audience wouldn't stop clapping. And Tom Riley was down in the pit with the orchestra, and he looks up and he goes, 1, 2, 3, and they start vamping again. It's the music for me to sing the song again. And as soon as the crowd hears that, they start clapping. So there was no doubt about it. They wanted me to do it again. And there was about a 5-minute dance after singing the song. But so I did it. What am I going to do? I'm out there barefaced. So I sing the song again, and they're still clapping. Now I realize they want me to do that silly, crazy, wild dance that I did ad-libbing the first time. You catch on quickly when they won't stop clapping. Now, I wasn't the greatest thing they ever saw, but they were in such a happy mood that they just wanted to keep laughing and enjoying this crazy kid on the stage. So they kept clapping. And Tom Riley was going to let me know, you think you're great? Okay, let's see how many times you can do this. So I did everything I had done 10 minutes ago. All my crazy Jackie Gleason steps and falling down, and every time I did something stupid, they would laugh and clap their hands louder. I said, what the heck is going on here? So I finally ended on my knee, and I fell down and put my legs up in the air, and crowd, the curtain, they finally pulled the curtain, and they dragged me off the stage. That was my great story at Georgetown University. What a show.